I can see that we have got 4 people in the call at the moment, so I will make a start. Just to introduce myself, my name is Ruby Wilkinson, and I work with Catherine Street at ComCom UK, who you may know from previous webinars and events, and I will be hosting the webinar this evening. For those of you who haven't joined this webinar before, I'll just give a quick overview of the format for this evening. The webinar is being held to discuss the construction activities on site at the COLPAI project. Members of the team from City of London Corporation and ISG have joined us here on the panel this evening to present the activities that have been taking place on the site, and we'll also give you an update on next steps. Following the presentation, we will go on to a Q&A, which will be your opportunity to ask the team any questions that you have. We're really keen to ensure that there's plenty of time to address any questions. So please do submit them at the bottom right hand of your screen, where you'll see the Q&A function. Please do feel free to submit questions throughout the session, and we will pick up on those at the end. We'd like to invite members of the audience to also join us on the panel and to ask any questions as well during the Q&A. So please do raise your hand if you'd like to join us on the panel. We're extremely keen to ensure all questions from the audience can be raised, and would like to remind everyone to be respectful to all attendees so that the meeting can run smoothly. I'd also just like to remind everyone that the webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on the project website following the session tonight. I'll now just go for a quick round of introductions of the team. So to start off with, I'll go to Michael.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Gwyther-Jones, Head of New Developments and Special Projects for Housing Services.
Gerald.
Good evening, my name is Gerald Mertens. I'm the Director for Academy Development for City of London Corporation.
And Mark.
Good evening, everybody. It's Mark Lowman from the City Surveyors Department.
Noyon.
Good evening, everybody. I'm one of the project managers in Mark's team at the City Surveyors Department.
Dawn.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Harris. I'm the Communications Manager for the New Developments and Special Projects team.
Paul.
Good evening, everyone. Paul Merter, Assistant Director for Barbican and Housing.
And Steve.
Steve McCarthy. I'm a Senior Project Manager for ISG.
Great, thanks all. I'm now going to pass over to Steve, who's going to want to do the presentation about the works on the site.
Okay, hi everyone. I'll lead you through our presentation, basically to give an overview of our progress that we've made. So obviously the first slide is of the residential block. The one on my left is taken from Golden Lane, and the one on the right is taken from the site looking out towards Golden Lane. So you're looking at the back of the residential block. What you can see there is our hoist runoff tower, and also the cylinder is a cylinder which we use for ready mix mortar. If I could have the next slide, Ruby. So this is a view inside the residential block. So on my left, that's a view looking along one of the balconies. So you can see the inner external wall of the flats. And on my right hand side, that's a view of the service riser. Next slide, Ruby. This is a view of inside one of the flats. Basically, on my left-hand side, we've just started putting up internal partitions. So you can see the floors screeded. We're putting up internal partitions. On the right-hand side, that's a view looking through a single flat, which has just been screeded and had some ductwork fixed to the soffit. The black lines that you can see on the floor set within the screed are where the internal partition walls are going to be constructed. Go on to the next slide, please. So this is taken on the top of the residential block, and that is the roof finishes going down. So what we like to do is get the roof finishes down as quickly as possible, because obviously that waterproofs the building, and that means we can get on with the finishes inside. Next slide. So that's a view on the roof of the residential block, looking down onto the site. And obviously on the right hand side, you can see the school and the paving. And on the left hand side, you can see the school hall, which has got its green roof there. Incidentally, the crosses on the green roof are temporary. That's a man-safe, temporary man-safe system. Next slide. So that is between the two buildings, the two school buildings. So you've got the main school on the right-hand side, on my right-hand side, and you've got the school hall on the left-hand side, linked by a canopy, and a canopy, a protected walkway. Next slide. Now that's looking out into the nursery area. So that's looking out from the school, I think on the second floor, one of the second floor classrooms, looking down onto the nursery area and looking out towards, no, actually that's looking towards Golden Lane. So it's out on the nursery, it's looking out onto the nursery area, looking towards Golden Lane. Next slide. This is a view inside the sports hall. As you can see, it's nearly finished. We're just putting in the finishing touches, and you can see the lovely timber engineered sports floor that we've put in. That actually looks really nice inside that building. Next slide. This is the kitchen. So this is a kitchen area which is in the sports hall. I know it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but what we're doing there is positioning all the kitchen equipment and commission it. So we've actually got the ceiling tiles out there. So we're not really doing the area justice there, but it is finished now and it's looking good. Next slide. This is a view down the staircase. So this is the internal staircase to the main school. Next slide. Right, obviously the one on my left are toilets, the children's toilets. I'm not sure what year that would be. On the right hand side is just a view down the corridor. So again, you can see that we're finished. We're just undertaking snagging, a few finishing items. We've got ceiling tiles out for commissioning purposes. Next slide. So these are two of the classrooms. I think these are two classrooms on the second floor. So this is a typical classroom that we've constructed. And again, as you can see, they're finished, and we're just undertaking finishing touches. Next slide. Again, classroom, and I'm not sure the library. Yeah, I was going to say library, the library area. Yeah, so that's at the corner of that overlooks the playground and is adjacent to Hatfield House. Next slide. So these are our monitoring results for June. I think we had one level exceeded, and that was due to us carrying out some works right next to the receptor. Next slide. So this just gives you a view of our current working hours. So our standard hours are 8 till 6 on our Monday to Friday, 6 to 8 we're working for commissioning purposes, within the educational buildings, and we're working Saturdays as usual 9 to 2. We've worked on a couple of hours again to get our commissioning and dead testing completed. Next slide. I think that's it, isn't it, Ruby? Are you there, Ruby?
Yep. So we're now.
Is that everything for me? Yep.
That's everything. So we'll now just go on to the Q&A part of the session. I don't know if the team want to all just put their cameras back on now. We'll stop sharing the presentation as well. Thanks, everyone. So we have had one question come in just regarding noise. I'll just read it out word for word. So we struggled through the online meeting today and had to terminate another early as other participants found it difficult to hear me over the building noise. So how will teachers teach over the noise, and how will children's ears be protected during the outside playtime from the construction of neighbouring tower blocks when the school is open? Steve, are you able to pick up on that? I think basically, to summarise, is there any measures in place as construction continues on site for while the children?
Well, we'll be working as usual, so we'll be observing the restrictions that we have to work to, which is 2 hours on, 2 hours off. We'll obviously try and keep the noise down as much as possible, but I wouldn't have thought we're in an unusual circumstance here, because many construction sites are close to schools and it works, but we will endeavour to keep the noise to a minimum.
I guess.
And obviously we'll have our noise sensors in place as well, so it's something that we'll continually monitor.
And can I ask Steve, will the nature of the work be different come September? Because at the moment you're doing
well, yes, Gerald, you're 100% right. I should have mentioned that. Again, sort of as you've probably seen, our tower crane is now being removed, so that really signals that most of our heavy construction has been completed. So we're now moving into a period where we're doing a lot of lighter work. So a lot of the heavy work has finished. So things, as you said, things should get quieter, a lot quieter.
Thanks, everyone. So another question for Gerald. Could you just advise about fire evacuations of the school? Where will the children be evacuated to until the housing building is finished?
I'm sorry, I don't have the answer to that with me because the school and trust have done that piece of work, but I'm happy to share that information after the meeting, and probably we'll put it in the next newsletter. I just don't have it to hand.
Thanks, Gerald. Is there any other questions from anybody in the audience at all?
I wonder if Ruba can just say a little bit about what's happening with the school then.
Yeah, sure. And that'll give an opportunity to type anything else in.
So hopefully for people who are logged in now, will have seen that the newsletter's gone out, and notices displayed on the estate that the school will be moving this weekend from their site at Copenhagen to their permanent build. And that's really, to kind of minimise the disruption both for both schools and for the residents. Originally, I was looking to move back on the Saturday and the Sunday, but they've managed to work with the removal company to reduce that move to just the Saturday, along down the Saturday, and some equipment on the Monday, which can't be moved until the Monday. So the school will be moving their resources into there over the weekend. The removal company has been told very clearly about keeping the noise down, levels down, and they've had a crib sheet too, and they've had a training session on that about not to minimise the disruption. And then from Monday onwards, what we'll have school staff in the building setting up the school, ready for when the school starts in September. So they're going to take that week to set up all the school and have a well-earned rest, because it's been really, really challenging for education establishments during COVID. Not only have they been teaching in school, but they've been teaching online, and people having to self-isolate and publics having to close down. So it's been a really tough year for education and a lot of other services as well. So after they've moved in next week, they'll be due a longer rest until they start in September. So I don't know if everyone's got any questions on that.
Thanks, Gerald. There is one other question that's come in. So is there any soft planting in the playground? Gerald, I'm not sure if that's one that you can pick up on, or that's Steve.
There is some soft planting. When the newsletter went out last week, in the beginning of last week, or I think it's the beginning of last week, we put a link in there to the landscaping that's going to take place. It's really quite complex pictures, I have to say, because they're condensed to such a small size, but there will be quite a lot of soft landscaping, not only to the ground floor of the outside play area, but also to the rooftop plays, and planters being built at the moment. So they'll be planting also on the rooftop play. So the drawings are on the COLPAI project website. Try and have a look at those, and if you've got any particular questions on those, if you post those, then I'll try and get the landscape design team to respond to those particular points. But yes, there is soft landscaping.
Thanks, Gerald. So another question has come in about the crane removal. So why residents were given so little notice about this weekend work and the closure of Golden Lane when it must have been planned for months. My house had got an email at 8 o'clock the day before, and I do not think this can be described as considerate. And the work this weekend, we have been notified today. Again, it must have been planned weeks in advance. I'm happy to pick up this question myself. So it really is just the fact that we have to go through a long process of obviously getting permission for the works, and then obviously preparing the notices as soon as possible. And we do always endeavour to get them out to residents as swiftly as we can. And unfortunately, sometimes it does mean that there is only a day's notice, but we do always try our best to get them out as soon as we possibly can. And
for the school move this weekend, we put it in a newsletter at the beginning of last week as well. So we did try and get some notice. What we said in the newsletter beginning of last week is that the move would take place on the Saturday and on the Sunday, and one move on the Monday. And now what we've been able to do, working with the removal company, and by having more capacity on the Saturday, that the move's reduced now to just a Saturday and a small delivery on the Monday. So we did try and give more notice on the move delivery. And as that's reduced, we've updated that today.
Thanks, Gerald. We'll just give it another moment in case anyone is typing away any other questions in the chat.
In the meantime, I just mentioned more about the landscaping. We're out of tree season at the moment, so those trees will be going in from October onwards. We'll find a time when it's convenient for the school and the contractor to put those in there. There's a number of trees going in both along the boundary between the kitchen and the allotment area in the Golden Lane. There's also a couple of tree pits in the play area. So in the nursery, there's a tree pit, and also within the school playground area, there's a tree pit as well. So that landscape will be going in as well, but it won't happen until we're in season for that. If we planted them now, there's a risk. We need to put those in at the right time. Thank you, Ruby.
Thanks, Gerald. As no more questions have come through, I think we'll probably draw the webinar to a close. I'll just give it another second just in case they want to cut anybody off if they are
Ruby, whilst you're doing that, it might be useful if I just share some work that we need to do involving consultation with residents. We've had some correspondence with some residents quite rightly asking us what progress we've made in terms of incorporating the new building to the Border Lane estate, how it will impact on the existing residents, etc. And also about the naming of the new building as well. So we, as a team now, we do need to get on with that. Yes, we know that the housing is still about a year away, but that year will soon pass if it's anything like the last year. So we have some work to do around that, and we will again engage with residents, consult with them on the name for the building and how we intend to incorporate the building within the estate and how it will be managed, etc. So please do keep a lookout for that. We'll give you plenty of notice and plenty of opportunities to engage with us on that. So that's something to look forward to in the next year.
Thank you very much, Paul. So no more questions have come through. So I will draw the webinar to a close, but as always, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us if you do have any other questions for the team following the session. The next meeting is going to be taking place in September. We do hope that we might be able to hold that one in person, but we'll keep monitoring the guidance very closely and obviously keep you informed of next steps for the next meeting. And I'd just like to thank everyone again for joining us this evening, those on the panel and in the audience, and have a lovely rest of your evenings. And thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say.
Bye.
Bye.